I had the impression that you were not supposed to bring any firearms.
Yes.
Okay. Why did you bring it then?
Two reasons. Well, one, I was scared. I didn't want to go over there with three of my brothers, and they're looking to me for protection. I didn't want to go over there with nothing, not knowing what we're going into. Initially, I left my firearm inside, and we were getting ready to leave. Basically, a fear I had to bring it. The first reason, and then the second reason, around this time, I just recently filed my application to receive my concealed license permit. So I was just kind of excited to have my firearm, and I just turned 21. So around this time, I'm bringing my firearm with me, casually places. I don't want to say everywhere, but I'm bringing it.
Catherine Lizardo, this witness is actually pretty well spoken. He talks about how Dominique blows things out of proportion, exaggerates. Well, we believe that, right? And so that gave him credibility to me. But they want to take his gun because he's about to get a concealed permit. And now, but he's validated the fact that if Travis gets up there and says, I saw a gun, this man had a gun on him, and it didn't make any sense to me that he was taking it because he was excited about getting a concealed permit soon. Your thoughts?
His testimony is indeed very interesting in terms of he's owning a lot of things that most of us would say is bad decision here. He owned the fact that Dominique gets to be hot-headed, blows out of the proportion at times, and wears her emotion on her sleeve. So that's good for them to admit that, because if you put that with Dominique's testimony earlier saying as to how whatever she wrote, she didn't really mean it, that makes it consistent. But at the same time, him admitting that he brought his concealed weapon because he was excited after getting his permit and just wanted to bring it with him everywhere. That's owning it. And again, another very, very bad decision. I'm putting that really lightly here. But why bring it if you were not planning to use it? So that's where, if I was the defense, that's where I will be going.
Or scare somebody, Jeff. Mr. Robinson, to me, was very honest. I mean, I believed what he was saying. He seemed to be very honest to me. But there's still an issue here about whether this self-defense, whether Travis is going to say, I was scared enough because I saw that weapon, I thought they were going to use it. But you were talking in break about cases involving both black victims and black defendants, that when there is a self-defense claim
egregiously in our system. And you can look as far as you want back in history. You can look to the Black Panthers and how there was no real gun control or open carry laws or anything until the Black Panthers started standing on, government building steps saying, we're going to arm ourselves too. We're going to protect ourselves from the police, and we're going to protect our community. As soon as that started happening, that's when you started to see the first gun control laws in this country, is because we didn't care what the white rancher was doing or what the cops were doing to the black people. We cared when they decided to defend themselves. And you could look into recent history. You could look at Trayvon Martin's case, where the Florida Stand Your Ground law ridiculously protected a grown man from a teenager with a bag of Skittles. Right? You can look at all of those cases and all of those examples to see what our criminal justice system has historically done to people of color, specifically black men. And that is why it is harder for somebody like Travis Rudolph, who has 4 people at his door. It doesn't matter what their race is, it matters what his is. That is what the statistics tell us. It doesn't matter if the people at his door were white, black, or any other shade of color. But the fact that there are 4 people at his door, one of whom just admitted to having a gun on him at the time, it doesn't matter what he has to say. It's going to be harder for him to survive a stand your ground hearing, and it's going to be harder for him statistically with the jury to have a self-defense claim on any case, much less a shooting. And so this is something that is systemically broken in our system, and that when people talk about the way our system is slanted against people of color, and most specifically black men, this is what they're talking about, is cases like this. Because most people, if 4 people came to their door with a gun in the middle of the night, they would have survived that stand your ground hearing. period. That is just a fact.
And that's why I keep telling people that this is a very interesting case. It involves issues of standing ground, it involves issues of perception, of self-defense, where you have victims, many victims, even those that weren't shot here, and also the issues of race that Jeffrey Wolf brings up.
Subscribe for more.